Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, Gambians. Good evening. It's me, Suleiman Ben Swari, coming back on the Open Gambia platform and to bring you the latest program. You bear me a minute, let me share this video and we can start this program. Thank you very much. Today is Sunday, the 23rd of April 2023. The time is just gone 17 minutes past 7 in the afternoon in Birmingham, England, or evening in Birmingham, England. The program today is going to be a response to the President Barrow's address to the Council of Elders or Elders of Banjul. And I'm going to play the video and I will respond accordingly. But just to summarize of what is happening here, and Gambians would note that this is very similar to what President Dictator Jammeh used to come up with. Very similar. Threats, trying to belittle people, glorify themselves, mystifying themselves, and trying to control Gambians in the way they think or their expectations in a very poor way. But Barrow knows his audience. Barrow knows his audience. And his audience are the majority of people in there and the wider community that they represent. But I want Gambians to just take time and listen to Barrow properly. Barrow is battling demons, that are really oppressing him now, due to a lot of things that he have crimes he have committed, and the difficulty he faced in manipulating the situation that he is in right now, because there's a lot of internal scrambling going on, and this is why he's very uncomfortable with social media and very uncomfortable because of the facts I get from places that he never knew. He don't know where I get my facts from. He knows their facts, and he knows that these facts are damaging him and exposing his administration. Then, if I go through with this in-depth analysis, it just gives you clearly of everything that's the truth behind the propaganda or the messages he's trying to put out. But you know, the similarity of Barrow here is even Barrow knowing that he's saying things that are not true. The people that he knew are present and know that they are not true. Or Gambians at large know that what he's saying is not true. But this interesting thing is, most of the people around there will not tell him because they are okay with that. They're okay with that. Hence, their positions are empowered. It's only few among them who might have trouble of what's happening in the country or what Barrow is saying. But they too, due to many other reasons, probably they will not want a confrontation with the state. They might have other vested interests because of probably they're representing other interests for what they hold. But its interest, it is of our interest. I know when people say, oh, I cannot even listen to Barrow. Unfortunately, some of us have to listen to Barrow, especially at this critical moment. Just I don't even listen to Yaya Jammeh. No. If you don't listen to these people, you don't even know what they're trying on to our people. There are so many things that we know about, and we could not even say it at that time, due to many reasons that if we say it might lead them to suspect or detect how we get our information. At times it's because of the information we've got, we could not collaborate it at that time and so on. But what Barrow did was to collaborate with other collaborations we did, and for finally give us the audacity to come out and confront his so-called plan of retirement. And Gambians will be surprised to find out what it entails in that so-called retirement plan or succession plan, and how much that is responsible for the destabilization of our economy, how much that is responsible for the internal struggle with him. And we'll get to that. If you bear me a minute, let me just try and track because I had to play the YouTube, I have to track the minutes where he started. I'll just wait this advert to go. There's the advert playing. Once the advert's finished, I'll come up and play the video. Hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Ñu ngi nuyu Vice President nag waa Banjul la bokk ci comité juma bi Banjul. Ñu ngi ko nuyu di ko ndokkale ci place aduna nag si loo nekk rek da nga war a bàyyi sa xel ne ëllëg dafay ñëw. Moom nekkoon na suma secrétaire général ba mu retirement bi jotee ñu ne dañ ko bëgg a jox contrat pour 2 years bu continue, waaye xam nga affaire yi nguur loi moo ko yóbbu te man nag kuy sàmm loi la. ñu laajte lan la si loi bi wax, loi bi wane ne ku dem ba retire mënut a nekk secrétaire général, foog nga nekk active service, loolu mooy tax nga nekk secrétaire général. loolu tax mënuñ ko war a jox contrat, waaye nag lu mu liggéeyoon foofu daf ñu kontaanoon trop. Man dafa nekkoon suma xarit di liggéey ak man, ma óolu ko, ma oo ko ma ne ko mënuñ laa jox contrat parce que loi bi loolu la wax, waaye ma ne ko dinaa la tegal ñaari place nga tànn benn si ñaari place yooyu, mooy ma yóbbu la nga nekk ambassadeur Sénégal wala nga dem Sénégal o Gambia secrétariat, ñaar yi nga tànn. mu ne ma man na dama bëgg a des suma dëkk, kon damaa dem Gambia secrétariat. noonu la demee foofu. kon loolu lu tax liggéey bu mu liggéeyoon la balaa ma jógee si office boobu. mu nekk foofu ñu soxla vice président, ñu ut kan mooy nekk vice président, waaye mbiri yàlla rek moo ko amee. man bu ma nekkee si juma bi dama ñëwoon di julli juma, bu ma defee suma kabaar rek yàlla dugal ko suma xol bi ci saasi. ma julli bi ma selmal ma yàkkamti pour wax ko ak suma chief of protocol, dañ génn rek si yoon bi ma ne ko am naa vice président. mu ne ma kan la ma ne ko Mohamed Diallo. mu ne ma loolu naka lañu ma ne ko wallaay dama kabaar rek affaire bi ñëw suma yoon. kon ñu ngi ko gërëm bu baax. nit ki luy sa wërsëg toogal rek dafay ñëw dara yàkkamti. ñu ngi nuyu imam ratib di ko gërëm di ko sant, nag la at yi wérul bu baax, waaye Banjul daf ko soxla trop 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 mu bugg a nguur gi bugg a réewam bugg a président looloo tax nu métti 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 rek nit ki sa kéene dafay feeñ bay fas te mos dara mënoon naa joxe excuse waaye ñëw na mag la mu ngi toog fii loolu daf ñu kontaan te daf ñu jox yaakaar ñu ngi ko nuyu di nuyu chairman bi te moom mooy master of ceremony macha allah ñu ngi ko nuyu di ko gërëm di nuyu président Supreme Islamic Council di nuyu njiiti diine yi fi nekk yépp ñu ne tey julli la bési jumaa la ñëpp dañ war a dem julli ji jumaa kon dañ ko gàttal.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me deal with this vice president position he talked about. I can clearly tell you something that Barrow has done here. When Barrow said this thing, what he said in Olaf, lafa ñëw suma xol. We have to understand that bit of language. Lafa ñëw suma xol does not mean there's no prior information suma help. It does not mean that you have not already been lobbied or been informed about Mohamed Jallo's, to lobby for Mohamed Jallo to become a vice president. Yeah. But I am not saying that what he said did not happen. But if it happens, it's simply to be explained. If you have something in your head and probably worrying, thinking about it, and you happen to start to do whatever you're doing, and something pops up and says, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. This is something that is likely to happen. That I'm going to explain why I am saying this. Because he said it clearly, lafa ñëw suma xol. Waxut ne dama dem ba kabar mu ñëw suma xel and or sila soga, or to say that sila soga, this is the first time when I went to start to pray, it's the first time my mind thoughts went to Mohamed Jallo and my heart just accepted Mohamed Jallo. No. What he said that when I started to pray, my heart accepted Mohamed Jallo. Let's explain what transpired here. During the course of lobbying, as I said, in fact, again, I apologize for the family of the late vice president, bringing him into the discourse, but again, as I said, it's relevant to the context we're discussing here. Before the vice president was found out to be ill, or taken to be ill, to be evacuated, Barrow was already looking into sacking the vice president. And for the only reason he wanted to sack the vice president, there were many issues that the former vice president Diouf was actually resisting or discouraging, not allowing. And some of these issues have to affecting the cartel, the business cartel. And Barrow was looking into that. And that was the time Barrow consulted Sidi Njie to be considered as vice president. Barrow consulted Sidi Njie to be considered as vice president. That's where it leaked. That consultation with Sidi Njie, that's where it leaked. That's why before even people knew about the vice president illness, it came out that Sidi Njie was proposed. It was that consultation that went on. Then eventually when the vice president, it was treated as a rumor, but it came out. But when finally the vice president was found out to be ill and took a little bit time, people started to take it as a reality that there might be a need for replacement of a vice president due to, even if he recover, probably he will not be able to be effective in his work. He will be retired. Then the lobbying started. Different groups went on to lobby. And the note here if you check it out, when the president started to talk about the vice president, he in fact made emphasis on wa Banjul la. He said vice president wa Banjul la, part of the MOS committee. You see, with Barrow, just as Jammeh, things they deal behind the scenes or when they sit down doing their campaign and so on, when they come in public, that's what it comes out one way or the other. Especially with Barrow. Now, wa Banjul la, that's have a very significant input here. Because some of the people that lobbied for or recommended Mohamed Diallo were the same people that were lobbying for the Gambian ambassador in the United Kingdom here, Fatou Bensouda. That's how Fatou Bensouda's name came out. Why Fatou was not successful? Again, if you remember when Barrow went to the funeral of the former vice president, he said that he doesn't want an ambitious person as a vice president, someone who would likely want to be a president. And for him, people like Fatou and others are ambitious, and other factors will come into it. Then the same people, Hadim Gai, the chief of protocol, the Imam Ratib, and those some of those council of elders in Banjul are the same people who were lobbying for Fatou. Some of them lobbying for Fatou. They are the ones who lobbied for Mohamed Diallo. Did not come as a mystical way of being this. No, it was in a process. It went through a process. Inadvertently, people that know, as I said, these are confirmation of what will happen. That's why it came out. Mohamed Diallo's name came out as a surprise, because it was the last minute he accepted Mohamed Diallo. And the reason these people who were lobbying, the reason they advanced is the vice president should come from Banjul, because they lost a minister, Sheikh Omar Faye. They lost a minister, Job, Works Minister, Infrastructure Minister Job, Bailamin Job. They lost a minister, Mamboure Njie. And technically, who is a Banjulian in the cabinet? Now they want this vice president position. You can see this is the clear reason. And there's nothing wrong with lobbying. Groups do lobby. Politics is about lobbying and everything else. But the thing is, he's trying to be mystical about this. And the issue again about wanting to reappoint, extend Mohamed Diallo's tenure in office as Secretary General is not true. That's not true. Not at all. Why Mohamed Diallo was not extended as Secretary General? He was found to be ineffective as a Secretary General. That's a fact. There are a lot of people that would testify onto that. He was found to be ineffective. And to say that he gave him two options, that's again not true. Because that option he's talking about the Senegalo-Gambia Secretariat. Remember, that position was given to Mohamed Manyang, transfer Mohamed Manyang from Social Security to that position. Mohamed Manyang declined it. That's how they found something for Mohamed Diallo. It was not anything to that process because of his effectiveness. That's not true. And Barrow cannot claim to be law-abiding. Barrow is continue committing crimes, corruption, nepotism. And what about the Commission's recommendations? We have seen what he's done with the Journey Commission. We have seen what he's doing with the TRRC. Still now, the recommendations that he can deal with is over here. People who are not supposed to be serving. But he did not. He sanctioned some people, accepted some recommendations, but he let many people off. Is that a law-abiding person? When he accepted the white paper of the Journey Commission, He let Alaji Sise, Mamburinjai, and others to come back to enable him. And he reinstated people like Jesus and others into the forces because for them to do illegal things for him. He did not put Jesus back. If Jesus was anybody with integrity or professionalism, he was not allowed to serve as the Inspector General and then to be taken as Divisional Commander. Why did he take it? Because he doesn't have competence. He doesn't have integrity. He would take it. It's a job. Then Barrow cannot claim to be law-abiding or disposition to be about law-abiding and to trying to be, it's a defined, mystical, these things to come up with Mohamed Jallow is all mystical nonsense. It's not true. The situation was lobbied, and this is how Mohamed Jallow came up to be the, Vice President. 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏, he's Banjul. 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏, he seems to be not ambitious or ability to maneuver politically to succeed him. That's what the reason is. He said it clearly. That's why we just need to be attentive on what Barrow says. Let's listen to the next bit.
Di nuyu ñëpp di nuyu suma ministre yi fi nekk ñu njiiti nguur gi wàllu sécurité ñu fi nekk yëpp ñu leen di nuyu di wone nag suñ kontaante si julli bi tey alhamdulilah am na ñu nga xam ne gis nañ weer bi si biir Gambia fii kon foog naa loolu suñ ko annoncé ñun ñëpp loolu war nañoo doy dem ba am na ku ma kool mu ne ma lan lañ wax ci julli bi ma ne ko Saudi gis nañ nag waaye autorité bi fii Gambia fii ñuy wax affaire julli mooy Supreme Islamic Council ma ne ko man mii maa ngi ni toog di xaar suma télévision di xaar lan la Supreme Islamic Council di wax lu ñu wax loolu la ñoo def li nga mbir boo gis foog mu am ñu jiitu te soo jiitalee nit ki bu ko jox boppa ba pare nga rocc làmmiñ bi looloo tax su affaire diina ñëwee ñun dañoo xaar Supreme Islamic Council ñooñu jiitu foofu ku nekk dafa am sa place président mu ngi fa place imam mu ngi fa place président Supreme Islamic mu ngi foofu ñun ñëpp suñ joxantee cër walla dañoo am jàmm si réew te ñun jàmm rek lañ bëgg si réew lii nag aada bu yàgga la su nuñ ma ko waxee depuis temps tubaab yi te ñu nag tubaab yooyu bokkuñu woon diine ñu nekk ay téeméeri at ñu doon nekk State House fii bokkuñ ak ñoom diine waaye ba tey njiiti diine yi ñu nga xam ne ñoo nekk Banjul dinañ ñëw jàmmalante borom kon loolu aada bu baax la lu ko gën a baax loo mooy aduna waxtaan la li aduna su waxtaan amul si aduna dara du lu mën a dox si biir aduna waxtaan mooy doxal réew waxtaan mooy doxal diine waxtaan mooy doxal mbokk te waxtaan bu gën a am solo mooy waxtaan boo xam ne da ngeen a ñëw toog jàkkaarloo boobu mooy waxtaan bu gën a am solo kon lii lu am solo la dañ war a waxtaan surtout nit ñoo xam ne ñoo ŋànka diine bi ñoo amee diine bi ñoo jiite diine bi wax naa leen ne nag nuñ bari support yéen borom diine yéen a ñu ëpp support fi moom mboolem ku nekk fi daanaka bi Gambia fii am na ku nga xam ne mooy sa imaam kon yéen seen population dafa bari kon yéen soo leen nekkee nit ñoo xam ne da ngay wax jàmm dafay sax ci dëkk bi fii bëgg naa nag ñett taxaw ci tànk boobu ñu wax jàmm léegi ma wax nit ñi wax nañ fi affaire social media.
If you listen to that point he noted, apart from referencing the history of this, gathering, he pushed something out that talk watan. The other thing is support. Imami ñoo am support. The other thing is peace. But the contradicting thing here is, just as Yaya Jammeh does, and the same thing that Yaya Jammeh looked forward to this day is to confront and send a message through these people to their congregation, or put fear into Gambians, or put a divisive message into our communities. That's the same message that comes through, information that comes through these messages. I've not listened to the other people, that imams and other representatives that spoke before the president, but I can assure you that one or two people talked about relevant issues, and some inadvertently might mention certain things, but not even purposely stand there to drive it out to the president that this is the issue, this is what it's about. When the British organized this thing, it was a consultation where the Council of Elders who come up to deliver their concerns and all things like that and so on. It's like a consultation. And when Jawara came in, expanded it by not only inviting the elders of Banjul, but in bringing in other communities to attend this gathering. That was the essence. I don't know how the British conducted it and what was the outcome, but I can tell you of how Jawara conducted these things, and it was a time that he listens, and when he comes in, he gives a unifying message, and he tries to convince and kind of a response to some of the concerns, and reassure the representatives at the gathering of his government resolve in trying to tackle those concerns. And the president, from what I've listened, it's not as he have responded to the needs of Gambians. It's not about, because he can't, because it's not that he was not able to do things. It's not that we didn't have the resources to do things on everything, no, because his government is hell-bent, like a bull in a china shop, just to rampage and just to take and grab whatever they want. Anything raised there, it's the government to hold accountable for that. What have they done to improve standards of living? What have they done to create jobs? What have they done to the healthcare delivery system, and orders? About what have they done to deal with the back way and all the issues about our resources? But no, about the peace he's talking about, when he is divisive in everything he does. Every gathering he goes on, any platform he has, he'll be divisive. His appointments are divisive. Everything else he does is divisive. How can he assure us peace when his government is hell-bent on corruption? How can we assure peace when his co-government is hell-bent on selective justice, going after his opponent, threatening to prosecute, threatening to arrest? It's not that he doesn't want to do it. It's because of the people are still resisting. People are still resisting. It's not that he doesn't want to do it. He is not applying the rule of law. He's not following the due process in many instances. How can he talk about peacefulness? No, it's about that word support. That this congregation, these people attending the gathering, these imams and others, they have what, and we have seen it in our election campaign. They come in, they go to their congregations, the alcalos goes in there, and they represent an extension of his campaign theme. This is what it's all about. Let's just move on to the other most significant bits.
Social media, they were social media. Why more than we was social media, I'm going to be a problem. Why don't them social media for no? Look at them to be no. Huh? Did it definitely? Why I'm the problem? Do them see video for social media? Social media do more factual supply. Fan you want that for you do so for you day. For now, Lord Mogan answer. One is social media, why man do social media, right? Media become the sip up more television and radio, especially radio. Radio na warning ko set up baha. community radio dañ ko defar pour nga dem di sensitiser nit ñi di wax lu baax waaye fu mu nekk nii moo leen ñuy dem si rajo yi nga ña nguur gi wax yu bon di sosal loolu yëpp dafay isi fitna te fitna su amee fu moo am kenn xamu ko de kon nañ bàyyi suñ xel fitna amul njëriñ am na nag ñoo xam ne ñooñu dañ foog ne su fitna amee loolu moo leen a jox opportunité pour ñu am place wala ñu am nguur waaye mun naa am fitna boobu si ñëwee si yow lay njëkkee balaa moo àgg si ñeneen ñi loolu mooy nga ñàkk a diis nga ñàkk a leste te nañ moytu loolu soo seetee ñuy wax si social media bi nekkuñ nit ñu bari.
Let me just stop there and I'll take the other bit later. Barrow have gone onto social media. Again, we're not surprised. Because the accountability. Barrow does not like accountability. But again, what this exposes is his small-mindedness as a president. As a president, how can you come out and say that people are coming to social media, talking about criticizing him? That's what his problem is. But they are not talking about their family affairs. How can a president be that narrow-minded? And which is not even true. It's not true. The amount of personal issues being discussed on social media far away. I mean, this thing. Go to TikTok and see most of the rubbish coming out from our people. Every minute. Anytime you tune in, there are people on live these things talking about, relationships and other things and other things and other things. Explaining about their marriages, explaining their problems and everything else. It's not true. But he would not know that because that's not what really matters for him. He is not comfortable because of the amount of content that comes from social media that holds him directly accountable, and he can do nothing about it. That's what really bothers him. That's really what bothers him. As a president, as a government, you are not telling us how you're going to harness social media to empower the people, to get the social media, these things. It's content creation and many other things can come out from social media. But no. When he benefited from social media, he said it himself, 2016. Now, he's on the receiving end, he doesn't like it. He said it. When the opposition did not have access to the media, or the media would not dare talk about issues that would empower the opposition, what happened? He said they depend on social media. He said we depend on social media. And he did it like this. Then you joke suba. He said they will wake up in the morning and ask what did social media say. He said they'll go to meeting grounds and find it full, and they said that, oh, because they had it from social media. These are all the good. He does not think, since he came to government, he never thought about how do we harness this? If this is an effective way of communicating, people, freedoms and so, how do we harness this? No. He's been trying to see how to break this down because he doesn't want to be held accountable. This exposes the kind of person he is. He's narrow mind. Say, Gambian, they won't. Why do you social media wasn't like? They don't come to social media to talk about private life. That's a lie. 90% of content coming out from social media platform is about people's life, which should the government should have energized. There are many strategies they get involved in to be about development, to be about other things, and yes, accountability. But he doesn't like that accountability, and the proof of that is, when the president said, well, TV, he said, in fact, radio and community radios. Do you know why? Because we all know that's not much coming from our TV platforms. There's not much. I'm not saying they are not putting certain things, but mostly it's just, yeah, they're creating an environment for some kind of participation and debate and other things. But they don't, the accountability process of other forms of aggressive, activism doesn't happen on our TV and radios. And in most cases, in fact, they control to, many intermediaries and self-censored. Some of our TV, or most of our TV stations or newspapers, rely on revenue from advertisement. They are very careful. He knows that that can be controlled. But the problem he have more is community radio. And guys, I can tell you this is a fact. The president has something to fear on community radio. Because I have sat in the Gambia and listened to community radio, calling programs, and I was really impressed. And why am I so impressed? People are talking on local languages. People are holding the government account, talking about what does he expect? This is why community radios are built. Yes, again, there's a lot the government can do for other issues to be on the platform, to support community radios, talk about agriculture, talk about sensitization on healthcare, health, and others. But do they do that? No. But another aspect of community radio is people to have the forum, to have the platform to speak about, to voice out. It's important for citizens to voice out. These people are desperate. This is where he should even be happy that, oh, there's an avenue. I am hearing directly from the people, not filtered through advisors and other psychophants, not telling the truth. I am hearing it. But he would not like criticism because his intentions are not to do good. He knows that. He's not in position to do good. Now he knows anything criticized is because of, yes, he's not, open up to hear those criticisms to make him do something better. Because his greed would not allow him to do that. That's why he emphasized on community radio. He's talking about destabilization. You see, what the English man said to bury your head in the sand and, turn against the wind and expect to cover up. No. The president must understand this. Where there is no social justice, there cannot be peace. There cannot be stability. And the so-called peace, temporal peace or abstract of peace, is not peace because there's an absence of war. It's a cycle. That situation develops, escalates to blow up, to be an open conflict. Right now we are seeing the situation in Senegal, Dakar. We are seeing civilians, militia, being armed by a government. We never thought that would happen in Senegal. But it went through a cycle. That now the security forces would not want to do certain things directly because of the accountability in that. Now, what they do is form militias, and those militias will come around to do them. 𝒂𝒏 did the same thing. That even some of the regular forces would not want to do something. Now, part of the regular forces, you build up something called the junglers to go and do these things for you. And escalations goes through cycles. Now, it's the same thing in this when corruption kicks in. And there's no jobs for youths, there's no hope for youths. Yeah, the youths will start to flee, going to the back way. Some would stay, and it goes through different cycles. People getting desperate, nothing else. The government pumping divisive messages on tribe and other things. And eventually, people will wake up one day and we are in a civil war. Or the army have just get out of the barracks or something else. It goes through a process. Then the president have to understand that the role these radio stations and social media plays, part of it is to sensitize. Part of it is to hold him accountable. But again, he should use that to gauge and understand, okay, we have to do something about it. We have to do something. It's not to try to silence the people. Don't say that they should be discussing, taking it as an opportunity to avoid violence. How do we take it opportunity against violence? What's the government program to do that? When the government goes out during elections, they don't talk about policy. They go to bribe the people. Cooking pots, money, community leaders and everything else. You are not informing the people to make an informed choice. You are buying their voter cards and everything. You are suppressing them, making them to be poor. And you want them to wait for next election cycle, the same thing happen again. You think the continued poverty, the continued suffering of the people will continue and you will be in peace. You will not be challenged. This challenge coming out is the process. That's why you should take heed, knowing that I have to do something. It happened with Jawara. We have the 81 coup. Go and find out the history of the Gambia. Some of the things that grumbled when the PPP came and thought that they can silence everything. They marginalized the opposition, 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏 and his opposition, UP. Is it UP? Help me there. He marginalized the opposition. Next to nothing. When we went for elections, it was like a hung parliament. I think one deciding one MP had to cross-step it to PPP in order for Jawara to form government. But the minute Jawara came up with his strategy, what happened is they cross-stepped all the opposition politicians to the PPP. And what that create, make the people start to believe that government is a gravy train. I have to join the government in order to benefit. And what happened with the opposition became rendered completely dysfunctional. Gambia had one of the most vibrant unions. Then, part of the negotiation to independence and everything else, the fight for the rights, civil liberties of people against the colonial was led not by political parties, but unions. Jalo Union, Edward Francis Small, and J.C. Fice and others, civil society movements. What happened when PPP came? They silenced all these people. That's why you don't even hear them in our history. Go and look at the history of the Gambia. They are not named after streets. They are not named after monuments. They are not named after nothing. They are not even in our history books. In order to have total control. Gambia had then, when I was growing up, very conscious youths. Imagine in those days the digital divide, or there's no digital in fact, the communication barriers and everything. Gambian youths were in tune with the liberation movements. Everywhere. In America, in Guinea-Bissau, in Angola, in everywhere else. They were in tune. And they were coming out regularly, to show their things. And guess what? They got broken up. Some of them given scholarships just to make sure they go out and they will not come back. And others be suppressed. They will not get scholarships, to travel. They will not get jobs in the Gambia and so on. What happens? Kill it off. But one thing they fail to realize is, and vacuum, and so, and what happened is, underground movements started to build. Any organization would be banned. Moja was banned. Other civil society organizations were banned. They turned radical. But one thing was the Cold War. Always government have to remember this. There are certain things beyond your control. They are coming outside your border. What you have to do to prepare your people, inform your people. And that's how the 1981 came about. Because government became complacent. Corruption and other things. Because they know that they were secure. Nobody would win them in the elections because of they have a monopoly over the elections. 81 came. Did we learn our lessons? Yes, temporarily. One of the issues Jawara did was the creation of the Social Security Housing Finance Corporation. Because one of the grievances that came out was civil servants, social mobility, housing, education, and other things. An economic development program. But what happened? The Agriculture Development Bank went bankrupt because they continued in the corruption because of the governance did not change. The democratization did not change. The monopoly of power did not change. Instead, they went and built an army without the necessary assessments, because been forced to take a decision because of Senegal got a gun on our head at that moment, because Jawara need Senegal to be secure for security guarantees. Now just we went on the confederation and other things happened. Just as now we still are under Senegal security guarantees. Some of the reforms that to happen did not happen. Some of the reforms did happen. Like Jawara started to put himself on the ballot, so that now we have a presidential system where the president have to be voted for rather than MPs, just MPs be voted for. People saw that as a progress that the president will be tested, not to rely on other MPs. But one thing is, we didn't have an independent electoral council. And the corruption and so. Every other time is a scandal of corruption and other things. The newspapers, were struggling. Even the Observer that came lastly were struggling. The journalists were persecuted. It's not random. I'm not comparing. Let me just put it this. It's nothing to compare with them. I'm not comparing with them. But everything has a foundation. I'm not comparing with them. Let me just put it that way. Some journalists were discouraged, some were persecuted. But what happened? Self-censored. If you are very critical, you don't have corporations will advertise with you. Private sector won't advertise with you. Censorship. And what happened? 1994, walk in the park. Because itself, the PPP itself overthrew themselves. The scrambling and everything else. That's why Barrow have to understand the importance of to have political tolerance. But he does not want that. He wants to silence everything and say negotiate. It should be an opportunity to prevent. What do you mean by that? Are you engaging on those grounds? No, they want to find a way to close community radios, and community radios was created to amplify. Social media is a banter bar. And it's just as what happened in Bantaba. You think that by discouraging people or denying them access, you are doing yourself a favor. No, you are even going to make things rapid. There are so many good that a government can harness from social media. But to think that they can have control over it, no, you can have level of influence. But the total control is impossible. And the genie is out of the bottle. The GRTS and everything are completely redundant. Any proper government would even want to, in Gambia or Africa, should even not think about having national TV stations anymore, because of what importance does it have. Leave a free press and do other things. Work with the press. That's what you do. But you have not provided any policy towards that. All he's talking about is to discourage and people not to speak, just to have psychophans to follow him. President Barrow, it's not going to be that easy. That's why he's under pressure. He's under pressure right now. That's why he's talking the way he's doing. Let's listen to the rest.
am na pol boo xam ne buñ nataalee këram dafa ragal dafa dem si suma mag ma ne ko gars yi ñëw yow de sa rakam mu ngi bëgg a jël suma kër mu tiit kër bu rëy la ñu nataal ko ñu président Barrow moo jënd kër gi moom mooy sampal yi mu ngi sant xaalis si réew mi yëpp gis nga samp na kër gu mel nii dafa doy waar. am na beneen saraxule waat ku nga xam ne nataal nañ këram ñu ne man maa ko jëndal suma jabar saraxule bi dafa tiit ba dog ci këram jógee Amérique ñëw ba fii te xam na ma sax contractant bi mu ne ko ñii dañoo wax seen rek wax du dëgg parce que ndox xamul kër gi sax man after la find out ne kër gi fan la nekk si lañ ma wax fan la kër gi nekk dama soog a xam ne kër gii la kër bu baax la nag ñoom kër yu rëy rek lañ di tànn nag ñu jox ko président waaye ñu xëy na dinañ am xel ñu delluwaat ci gannaaw te soo seetee ñoom ñu nga xam ne ñooy def loolu ñañ leen profile rek ñu bari si ñoom njëriñu Gambie dara njëriñu seen bopp dara ngunu ganaar sax sampuñ ko biir Gambie billaay am naa ñu bari si ñoom su ñoo ñëw Gambie fii ñii ñoo leen a fiyal paas su ñoo jógee fii ñii ñoo leen a fiyal paas ñu dem façon nit ñooñu Sarawule façon nit ñooñu dafa am fuñ leen lebel ñu ne si Sarawule ku nga naa sigi har sele ñel nga may la Dakar na suñ taxawee si kaw neen saa duñ ko mën a tëdd déedéet muñ dara wax rek la ñoo def te am na nit ñu ne dañu ne fay tam pour ñu wax ñoom si loolu la ñoo dundee pour nga dem fenal président Barrow wala nga wax lu bon si moom wala nga tabbi waa réew mi meree ko nii ñoo la fay jox leen xaalis pour ñu def loolu lan moo ko jar man gëm naa ne président Jawara moo fi nekkoon te fanweeri at nañ foog ne président Jawara du fi jógee dem na.
It's interesting here. This portion here, Barrow said a lot of facts in it. But people misrepresented the facts of Barrow. So much facts in it. Listen to it properly. One thing he said that is about 100 people. Mainly 100 people. What he's saying is he have registered about 100 people who are very effective in holding him accountable on social media. Yeah, there might be thousands on social media playing up. And yes, these are the 100 people that are circling over. But again, he does not understand how social media operates. You have social influencers and other things. Gambia is a small population. But he doesn't understand how these things operate. And he is talking about the prominent 100. That doesn't mean that there's so much more. His prominent 100 that really bothers him. But it was the same thing and same manner that the people fought against the mercenary of Jammeh for him to register. He doesn't understand, probably he doesn't know WhatsApp is part of social media. With all the messages coming through WhatsApp overwhelmingly. But obviously what he says is the 100, prominent 100. But again, this is where President Barrow trying to manipulate the situation, talking about big houses, people taking pictures of big houses. Let President Barrow say whether that's not true. I know some people will go overboard to take pictures that they don't know. But I know of properties being shared which he cannot deny to be owned. And some are not even being shared yet. There's one in opposite Barrow School. He cannot deny of owning that property within the first year and developing it. Because that property, he was the one looking after that property. I know the family that owned that property. He was the one looking after that property. The minute he became president, he bought it and developed it. He cannot deny that to this. He cannot deny that the wife have bought a property over $12 million in Fajara, which belongs to the former External Affairs Minister of Jawara, Omar Sy, over 12 million. And it's been redeveloped now to something else. He cannot deny that. He cannot deny the twin palace he got in Makamakunda. He cannot deny that in Tanje there are two properties that each belonging to each wife. He cannot deny two properties in Dakar that we know of, and other places. He cannot deny the sister who was a vendor yesterday, today is building a big motel and other things, people associated with it. He cannot deny that his brother, he's talking about Bully Barrow, owning farms, owning properties, building properties, who could not even listen. He cannot deny all this. But no, he is using the exception of one or two scenarios where people misrepresented or people decided to do something as as presented. Oh, this is the fact. No, I didn't have that much. That's a lie. We know that he owns more than that. But one thing President Barrow said here, which is very true, he said profile them. He said most of these Gambians don't even own a chicken set. I'll have to approach that in two ways. Let me just mark it 2 ways. I have to approach that in 2 ways. One is first, the fact he said here is, he said we even pay fares for them. You know, again, I said, President Barrow have confirmed some of the things we've been saying. We even pay, he said in the diaspora here, they even pay fares. President Barrow knows that he's not talking to 𝒂𝒐𝒊𝒏, he doesn't pay my fare. President Barrow knows that he's not talking to anybody who is paying their own fares traveling to Gambia or other destinations. President Barrow is referring to people that are coming out on social media to support him, that rely on him paying their fares, rely on him, these patrons. Some of them, they're ministers, permanent secretaries, business people, providing them vehicles, providing them houses and places to stay, providing them hotels and so on, giving them money. These are the people President Barrow is referring to here, and which is a fact. We said it here. They come out, and he's talking about people who are paid to insult. That's another fact. We said it here. We know that these people going to campaign for President Barrow, traveling from Seattle, traveling from London, traveling from Sweden, traveling from other places, going to the Gambia, are not going because of they sweat and work for their money to go and support President Barrow because they like President Barrow, because of President Barrow is doing a good job. No, because of they are benefiting. Because President Barrow is paying for it through their campaign finance, or business people affiliated to President Barrow are doing it. The likes of Hadimgai, the likes of Yankuba, Dabo, GRA, we know them. And some of them are giving businesses, vendors, to procurement. They give them businesses. Yaya Jammeh was doing the same thing. Many Gambians who were here supporting Yaya Jammeh, who used to do freighting, they freight, they go, they give them exemptions and other things. These are the people Barrow is referring to. But again, what does this confirm, as I said? This confirmed President Barrow of using this occasion to attack. Even if this is a fact, you are the one. What I know about the opposition, I don't know who gives the money, but I know they put their money together. But all the social influences, some social influences, some people, or most people supporting the NPP in the diaspora are benefiting. Because I said this here, it's 2 things. Supporting President Barrow is 1, out of ignorance, you don't know better. 2 is because you are selfish. If you know, you are selfish. There's no genuine person who would support President Barrow, who knows what is in that country, what President Barrow is doing. President Barrow has said truth here, but again, why should a president stand before elders with all the deal happening in the country? What is happening in Sudan right now? Gambian students stranded in Sudan. Gambian youth stranded in the desert, stranded in Arab countries. Gambian youths dying in boats to cross for greener pastures and suffering in asylum camps and everywhere else. It's not been addressed. What's been addressed? Gambian women dying in hospitals because of President Barrow with the Minister of Health have stored the money, the COVID money. You think somebody would steal COVID money and President Barrow just cover up? The procurement to Turkey, how many millions? The National Audit Office said that. This is, and who else would take that? You think, somebody would do that and survive? But there's a contract for renovation of Royal Edward Francis Small Hospital. How many people know about that? How many people know how much is involved? How many people know the contract to give it to? They give it to Lamin Sedi, who do sponsor President Barrow campaign. Lamin Sedi. And this is why this delivery, systems are not delivering. What about NAREC? I'm saying there's allegations. I'm just waiting for a bit to confirm it. Of kickback, President Barrow getting kickback of 10,000 euros from Kapo. And the reason I am pointing this out, I have sufficient evidence to put it as an allegation, but there's a little bit to pin him, to accuse him of it, and I want him to put it on a charge sheet. I want him to put it on a charge sheet. And these are the reasons why 𝒂𝒃 is where it is today. The main supplier of 𝒂𝒃 right now, a Salahule guy, I forgot the name, I got the name in my phone here, is supplying 𝒂𝒃 with inferior fuel. And that is damaging the machines of 𝒂𝒃 and other things because of the kickback. Because of the kickback. Barrow have said truth there. That the people that he pays for tickets to come from the Americas, the Canadas, the Englands, the Swedens, the Scandinavians, and African countries travel to campaign for him. They give them lodging. Some of them, their business people give them lodging. They give them hotel. They give them money to go. And those people, some will go and insult for him. He said it. He said, who we pay for? You know that he will not pay for 𝒂𝒊𝒏. You know that he won't pay for critics. Who would he pay for? Barrow said it. Who we pay for? You know, fail. Malina fail. That's why I tell Gambians, listen to Barrow. Whatever he does, he will say it. Whatever he does, he will say it. Why do I say I'm going to look this at the another angle? You know, as a president, to turn around, to degrade or attack citizens, diasporans. That's another fact President Barrow has said. There are so many diasporans in the diaspora today, they don't even have a chicken set in the Gambia, which is a fact. But the point is, why? You see, this guy cannot be grateful for what the diaspora contribute. The diaspora is the most productive sector in that country. The diaspora doing more than his donor partners are doing, or whatever you call it. Go and look at the figures. It's not the figures we put up. And those are only official channel figures. I know whenever Gambians are traveling to the Gambia, how much goes directly, they take along. To the extent of some people defy the limit of £10,000 or 10,000 euros or $10,000. Defy that to take along. These are just the other remittance they're talking about. And most of this remittance, what it does do is engine for the economy, fuel for the economy, building, all the things been going on. But most of it too is going directly to support people who are suffering, their families. Today people tell you, a household without diaspora, would be really challenging. I'm not saying every household is supported by a diaspora, but to extension of diaspora support of household, their own household, extend to neighbors. I can tell you many instances that your parents will tell you, oh yeah, I got the money and I gave some to your auntie, or I gave some to the old man in this thing, or there's an old woman here, or I gave something so that young lady, these things. That's a fact. Then it's very inappropriate to go on blanket attacking people like that. And do you know what? And I always tell Gambians for that. Many Gambians are in fact neglecting themselves in the diaspora here because of the support their families. They are getting into trouble because the support they're giving to their families. Trouble. Owing big debts, not because of themselves. They are ignoring their families here because of their family in the Gambia. But should the president insult people for that? The government, his government should have been talking about, yes, in a positive note, that this is some of the sufferings and many Gambians are experiencing, and we should not allow that. Because these people are contributing so much. Now the government is going to prioritize to create this avenue, that avenue, this initiative, that initiative, to make sure these Gambians would have something to come back to if they want to come back. I know of Gambians here who are not even, some are not even employed because of their disability or other things, or at times when they are not even employed. what they paid, part of that they would struggle and to give something back to our people. We all have seen the evidence. I don't need to go dwell on that. But it takes a leader to recognize this. It takes a leader to harness this. But instead, he would, in this congregation, what he does, to attack people. And this is the same person who's saying that Gambians are using social media to attack. Gambians are using social media to this. He is the one doing it. And the people he even said that are insulting, most of them, he's paying for their insults. Then Gambians, we should know and understand this is what the president is. This is what Barrow is. And this is the message he is sending to us. But let's move on.
President Jammeh nekkoon fi am fi doole lool bu nekk la am police am soldat am jinne am ay dooma yëpp la amoon am fi ay huma jiib yu bari am feneen yu bari anam dem na jeex na président Barrow dafay dem man bant sax amee wax man damaa def man dama yàgga léegi ne ma de bu leen yàkkamte dinaa dem waaye dimbale leen ma ñu ma liggéey réew mi bëgg naa su ma demee ëllëg ñu ne ah président Barrow de moo liggéeyoon lii liggéey boobu rek moo am solo nag Serigne Bamba dem na bu yàgga beneen liggéeyam moo fi nekk ana Serigne Bamba dem na bu yàgga liggéey mu ngi fi kon liggéey rek moo am solo yow dangay dem waaye sa liggéey du dem dafay des man loolu laay wut dinaa dem waaye suma liggéey mu des si dama des Gambia fii bu ngeen ko xamee kër gu ma dëkk après président léegi tey ma ñëw sax.
Let me touch on that first. I'll move on to the way. Barrow is talking about Jammeh, what he perceived strength. He had this, he had that, he had that. But we remember the same Barrow said that to us, that he was even more powerful than Jammeh because he's half economic with him. Can we not remember that? Now we should ask ourselves, why is Barrow bringing this up? Jammeh, that's why we should be very careful. We should be very careful. And I have seen some people even saying, oh yeah, Barrow is thinking of leaving. That's not true. It's a lie. And I'm going to get into this. And listen to this. He did not say that I am running my last office. I am not going to run for elections again. No. I'm not going to stay long. This time round, he's even trying to give it in an open window. But why would we believe anything he says anyway? The same person who sat in Senegal and said, Man dama doyal, I am contented. I am a businessman, I'm contented. And this, I am not gonna this, I'm not gonna this, I'm not gonna this. The same person who came and tell us this. The same person who said everything. Why would anyone believe what Barrow says? Especially to this end. But there's something about this. And I'll give you a context of this. Probably 8 months ago or so, just after the elections, when they had cabinet, and someone reached out to me to say that, oh, Barrow is not going to run for next election. That's why he doesn't care. He's just making the money he wants. I said to him, I cannot believe that. Then something else came up. Information came out that Wage, Kalulu Wage, a Senegalese businessman, and other business people have used this opportunity. And this issue about Barrow said that he's not going to run, at that time, obviously, we did not get the source of where it was coming from. But what we first came across was Kalulu Wage and others have gone to the central bank governor, Boisedi, and convinced Boisedi that Barrow is not going to run the coming elections. We can make you the candidate for NPP. And that got into Boaseedi's head. And Boaseedi started to consult oracles and obsessed with it. When that happened, I have my suspicion, and I said to the person, this is a scam. I said, it's a scam from Barrow. I said, yes, I believe now it exists because of 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏 would not make up this up, but I said there's more to it, and we'll get to that. I'll get to that bit. But when they approached, I said they are scamming the central bank governor. Guess what? Why the central bank governor is not revealing the people that he gave to, on how many, over $100 million from our reserves. The business people he said he gave it to. And Barrow knows about this money and about these people. It's not a scheme to rob us. This man believing that he is helping these people to generate more profit so that they can back him up. To back him up. That happened. That's a matter of fact, it happened. We followed up, and when that money was dispersed, 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏 is part of them. Someone said, I cannot confirm that one, Amadou Sane and Jaga Sane, both of them or one of them were part of the people giving money. And other traders are giving money, and all of these people are part, some of them, sorry, are part of this notion of, oh, they're going to support Boaseedi to be a president candidate for NPP. You know, one of the reasons why they do this after the elections was to have control, to create this, create this as a mechanism for competing forces to be against each other and to leave the president alone. Sadauda did that mistake. Remember when Sadauda came in 1990 at 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒏, I believe in 1990, and said that I want to leave power. We all know Sadauda never intended to leave power. I don't have time to go into details. We have talked about it many times. What did that create? The downfall of Sadauda. That's when it started. So many started in fighting. Different camps in PPP started in campaign fighting until what we have in 1994. 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔 isolated, fighting 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒆𝒍 went and these things. 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒆𝒍 went to marry the president's niece, Fatma Alami, to be more close to the president. The president turned around, giving him the vice president position, even though he was found to be corrupt, and renegating 𝒕𝒉𝒊𝒔 to Minister of Finance. And next minute took the Minister of Defense, which Jawara have always been held with Jawara, pass it on to 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒏, and this and so. It's the same mechanism they play at, trying to distract people away from holding the president and saying, okay, let's leave the president alone. Macky Sall did the same thing last elections. Oh, Macky Sall last day, we can this time, let's just give him his second term. Let's just give him his second term. The minute he crossed the second term, what happened? He went on to his entrenchment program. He started weeding out people within. This is the same strategy. But the next one, when we looked at it, that angle of Boaseedi came out. But another angle came out, Mohamed Jah, from the Banjul Council of Elders, the same people that manipulated, that lobbied for the vice president position. And the rumor came out, and some form of some of collaborating evidence came out that, and the rumor started, oh, Mohamed Jah would be entrusted to succeed Barrow so that he can protect Barrow's interests. Let me give you a background of this. In 2017, when the coalition came into power, because Mohamed Jah now was scared that he was losing his business contacts or his share of the business, this thing, and he wanted to expand into everything. At that time, 𝒂𝒊𝒏 was seen to be close to Barrow. And you see, 𝒂𝒊𝒏 was very active in Taxawal Banjul, and with the support of the Banjul community. He did the Taxawal Banjul campaign for the MPs and everything. I am not sure. And some people saw that as 𝒂𝒊𝒏 positioning himself to use as a platform. And his possibility, they went to President Barrow and said to President Barrow, "You are trusting 𝒂𝒊𝒏 with all this, but he want to succeed you. He want to run for president." From there, that fracas, what came out, the finger too was pointed to Mohammed Jah. That actually Mohammed Jah was the one actually in the process. Was not 𝒂𝒊𝒏. It was Mohammed Jah who is in the process of forming a political party. And I have evidence of that. That's what I'm talking about. I know many people who were consulted. I know meetings held, locations that the meeting were held. I know people who were doing the research, preparatory, the exploratory task, and every other thing. The money started to be spent to prepare grounds. The COVID came in, kind of delayed a bit, but something happened during the COVID. Mohammed Jah was in America and stranded with some Gambians who were to come back. Mohammed Jah hired a private airline, a private plane flight, and managed to get some Gambians, apparently some paid towards it, managed to get some Gambians on board. One Gambian who was put on board was President Barrow's son to come back to the Gambia. Through that, because the minute Mohammed Jah even came back with President Barrow's son, for 3 weeks after that, there were 3 meetings, separate meetings held by Mohammed Jah. He was present, and many people were present. Still following up these ambitions or plan to form a political party. Mohammed Jah was so angry. But not knowing, unknown to these people, exposing themselves, Mohammed Jah planning for a political party. Mohammed Jah, when he landed with President Barrow's son, he have started to talk to President Barrow. And President Barrow said to him, "If you want to challenge me, I'll break your business. If you come to support me, I will support your business. I will support your decision." Mohammed Jah abandoned all these people. They did not even know when he moved away. Some of them don't even know when he moved away from this plan of a political party. Remember when QTV, they had Daraji, a Daraji that was a forum, kind of a forum setting, where they used to have this weekly discussion of burning issues and stuff like that. That's the reason Mohammed Jah had to stop that program from Q programs, and some things were censored on Q radio. The young lady who was later at Fatu Radio, Fatu Network, she used to have a program, very very good program on QTV. Gosh, what's her name again? You know the lady I'm talking about. God, she will kill me. She will kill me that I forgot her name. She will kill me, I forgot her name. But this lady, remember, he interviewed Dr. Cisse, Pasambajau, and someone else, something like that, on a program. And that program was meant to be aired. They shut it down. Another thing happened, they shut it down. Sergio Brito was looked, this thing, they shut it down twice. And Sergio Brito, with her integrity, 𝒖𝒊𝒏 Brito left. That's how 𝒖𝒊𝒏 Brito ended up at Fatu Network. So Mohammed just started to fight that. But not only that, started to pump in money. The Barrow son, that son that traveled from Seattle, again in Seattle, Barrow, the family bought a house in Seattle, and they bought houses in United Kingdom here. And I'm accusing them they bought houses in United Kingdom here, and let them sue me. Then we can have a disclosure of their properties. I'm accusing them they bought a property in Seattle. That's where Barrow's son ended up living, and his cousin. That's where end up living, in that house. Now, that son started to be mentored by Mohammed Jah. Under Mohammed Jah, these things, mentor on business or whatever it is. And it answered from sponsoring the presidential elections and everything else, and sponsoring candidates and everything else. This, some people turn around to say that, no, it's Mohammed Jah, he wants to pass this presidency too. I said that's a lie. I don't believe that. The only reason Barrow would pass on anything would be he's completely incapacitated. Completely incapacitated. And that's a possibility of this. Whoever knows, knows. The reason Barrow sleep all the time, we all know it because he's on a medication. Barrow have a very bad back that would cripple him. And I can tell you 2 instances, the evidence of this. When they first went to Saudi Arabia for the OIC meetings or something like that, that time Dabo was the External Affairs Minister. 𝒑𝒉𝒊𝒔 was the Interior Minister. Barrow could not even, climb the flight of stairs. He was struggling to lift his legs because of the damaging back. He was technically being looked after by doctors. And that's early time. He insisted. That was the first time he was so completely slumbered during the meeting, completely knocked off because of the medication, morphine or whatever God knows, to treat the bad back. And all the neurological problems he have. He's taking medication for all that. And he's scared of going for intensive treatment because that would be the absence of him from the chair. Absence of him from the chair. And if people check that out, when they were traveling from Saudi Arabia, coming back, there's a picture that 𝒑𝒊𝒏 went and Barrow was, even in the flight, slumbered. And 𝒑𝒊𝒏 took a picture with him. And some people went out to say to, point to this thing to say that 𝒑𝒊𝒏 did that purposely to have evidence on Barrow, showing that he, at this time, he was not well. Some people say that. I'm not saying that that's a fact. Some people made that comment. The picture is still online somewhere. Slumbered in the private plane. He was suffering like what? Like a sack of potato. He's not well. Yes. Another one. Remember when Q City was being opened? Q City was open. Barrow had to force to go and attend the Q City this thing because of Mother B was there. But at that time he was suffering. He was on severe medication. Now, some people are saying that what this thing is about is a managing situation. He is looking for a successor. For if something happened very rapidly, he will have someone to protect the family. Because of within his cycle, he does nobody he can trust or strong enough to do it. Now people like Mohammed Jah will be lined up, and some of these business people, because of they want to scam the governor to give them access foreign currency, and others say that the governor is lined up. Boa City. this is what is behind this talk of, oh, I am thinking of retiring. If he retires, it's because of his ill health, that he can no more manage this completely. Now there's a plan B. But it's not that he is planning to retire because of that. He just he's contented in being in office. That's a lie. This is the theory going on, and that's why you see these people so powerful. And now people are saying, some people are observing that this is why Mohamed Jan now is not only giving money to Barrow, but he is trying to have candidates, to have a platform. That's why they said that, that's why they fought to get a vice president in position. A vice president that they can easily work with to transfer of power. That would not be ambitious, because people that know Mohamed Jallow said he's that kind of a not ambitious person to run for office. And technically what Barrow was trying to tell you, or that when even I suggest him to go to ambassador, he doesn't want to live outside the country. He just want a quiet life. Stay in the Gambia. And people that grow up with him, people that know him will tell you he's a kind of a very quiet person. I mean, lay back in a humble way. But that's a weakness as a leader. Because of now already we have seen the evidence of the vice president doing the bidding of Barrow. That's why he's happy with him. Something that Diouf would have frowned upon is the case of Gam Petroleum, where theft have happened. Where Barrow have put two people in place and they have stole people's property, sold it to Mali. Mali refused to pay. Guess what? They could not recover the money back to return this thing. And now we are in crisis. Those people should be arrested. They are not arrested. The police should be involved, are not involved. But they are trying to negotiate to see how to settle it. And this might lead to be losing that plant, selling that plant. And to who? Likely Mohamed and others. People like him and his other Senegalese partners. You see where this is going? Let's move on to the other bit.
identify suma staff yi sax ñu nga xam ne ñooñu lay liggéeyal mais ñooñu ñooy manage suma foundation bi pour ñu dimbale nit ñi lu ma faraatu ma jox ko nit ñi loolu lay def yàlla taral nga bu dee la ma defal man si àll bi fara laa jógee man Kawankunda soo xaymee suñu dëkka ñetti téeméer nit ëpp ko ñu fa nekk si dëkk bu ndaw a ndaw a ndaw a ndaw fanweeri kër passé wut loolu foofu laa jógee ñëw fii capital fii Banjul yàlla tànn ma jox na place bi kon yàlla moo ma tànn man dama gëm loolu wallahi loolu dama ko gëm 100% te xam naa ne yàlla rek moo amee loolu waaye benn affaire nit ki war ngaa bàyyi loolu sa xel nit ku nekk su nekkee yaa ngi dund da nga war a am adresse suñu waxee adresse na da ngay foog ne sa kër bu nga dëkk ak
now again let's hear this. Barrow is saying that, when he's retired, he's going to stay peacefully. Again, Barrow would expect with all the crime he have committed, all the looting he have done, he's just going to retire and live peacefully. That again would inform you. He's thinking that he's going to hand over power to someone who protects him. That's what he thinks. That's how naive he thinks. He is planning to hand over power. You see, that's why Barrow and others are working on consolidating to take over all the municipal councils. Once they have all the municipal councils, their intention is to use it, municipal councils, to control a grassroots. That grassroots will help them for election front, that grassroots will help them for mobilization, that grassroots will help them for everything else, and to be divisive in killing off the opposition completely. But again, as I said, in the First Republic, this was the mistake of Jawara. When you kill off the opposition, when you kill off civil society, when you kill off these things, what happened is you are avoiding a peaceful transfer of power. When you do that, you are making your government to be complacent, thinking that we are here, I mean, we can do whatever we want, we will not be prosecuted, we will not do this, we will not do this. There's no accountability. And and it's not sustainable. And people would have only two options: come out in the streets and force to throw it out. Sri Lanka is an example. Let me give you an example of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is about the Tamil, and the Tamil we are seen as the opposition. Now the other two major groups, the single and the this thing, they control power, and the Tamil we are seen as the problem. Now they defeated the Tamils, brutalized them, defeat them. And they thought now they are comfortable. Now they started transferring power from a brother to a cousin and so on. Corruption ensured. Projects, they went and borrowed China, build airports, build this thing, or development, and fool the people. Bad policies. But when people become really tired, the army would not have this thing because they control the army. They control everything. Guess what? The people came out. The army cannot stop the people. They ransack until they throw the president out to flee. That's what will happen. That's why we need democracy, where we live, try to create a level playing field, the opposition to thrive, civil society to thrive, in order to hold you accountable, hold the system accountable, every people to be held accountable, and we live in peace, stability, and progress. This is what should happen. But they are doing everything in this to control. That's why Barrow would think that he can do everything and live with it. Still do anything, commit crimes. I'll tell you, there are human rights abuses that Barrow can be disinformed, because he have came out and took responsibility for that. And if we continue, there will be more. The more people resist, the more the police will be heavy-handed. The paramilitary will be heavy-handed. Well, the more you challenge them. Now, that's why we have to think. He's thinking of retiring. He said that he's going to build a house, a home. You see, Barrow, the twin palace in 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏 is not enough for him. And I'll tell you what is going on here. That is very revealing. Again, that's why I said when Barrow speaks, he confirms things for us in a way. We try to collaborate certain things. But him talking about it even more. But he said he's going to do social, I'm going to do my foundation. This guy is delusional. But again, because he is thinking this way, that he will have control over until the time he hand over. But if he knew that an opposition party might win, he would be scared that no, that's not going to happen. But he's working on trying to control everything, just as the IMF control everything, and to hand over, or when things cannot be normal, when he cannot go. That's why I said the only time he will hand over is when he's technically incapable of moving. That's the time he will hand over. But the guy is just delusional. In Mauritania, the president handed over to the defense minister, who he groomed, he trusted, who he's belonged to his tribe and everything. Guess what? He's been put on trial for corruption. Not the human rights abuses, but for corruption. In Angola, the then president, the dictator, appointed his then again defense minister, everything else. Guess what? His entire family has been prosecuted for corruption. Because what Barrow don't understand is, when someone comes into power, he needs to consolidate. And that person would not be comfortable with what you have created. And with the other things, he have to be his own person. He have to go after you and the apparatus and other people that are against you. What they do, they will go after the police, they go after the army, they go and take all these people. That's what they will recommend to you. And you will take that advice, that if you don't do it, you will not stay long. This person have to go. These people need to go. This business have to be broken up. We have to create your own people. That's why I say it's delusional. But no, let's come to something. Barrow is talking about building a home. Now, we were looking at this, and it seems, let me emphasize, it seems now that's where Barrow is pointing at. Around Jawara's residence in Atlantic Road, there's an area that was under the British Council. You know, the entire length of that area was part of the British Council, controlled by the British. There's an area, some part of that area, part of that land is inhabited by, how to put this? I just put it this way. They're habited by people, some Jolas. They're habited by some Jolas. I don't want to see that, but this is, but those are, some of them are old, they are old structures anyway. I think some of them are even, you know, this killing thing. They were this killing thing. The domestic servants and others used to live in these premises, quarters. It's like quarters for domestic servants. But there's vast land towards the Atlantic. Vast land towards the Atlantic. We had reports that Barrow has repossessed this when it was handed over by the British Council. And if I continue this thing, I think Barrow will be saying that he's thinking of how to build this land. It's a vast land, and apparently part of that land was cut and given to a Senegalese businessman. Now, Gambians should ask, how did Barrow obtain that land? Why it is transferred to him? 2, Gambians should ask, who is this Senegalese businessman or Senegalese national? And is Barrow expecting the kickback or the sale of the portion given to the Senegalese, allocated to Senegalese, to build this land? Is Barrow planning to move to this place? This is what we should think of. He have said it. He's not thinking of Makamokunda. He have twin palace in Makamokunda. That's not enough. He have built an infrastructure around that. That's not enough. He's not planning to retire in Makamokunda, but he's planning to retire somewhere. And what that confirmed to us is what we knew before, that this land was in dispute. And part of the land, in fact, part of the land encroached to part of a land that I think one of the Catholic dioceses, the Catholic diocese have, something like encourages. Because I was talking to someone, he mistaken, there's a seminary, there's a seminary in the same area. It's not the seminary itself, but there's a land part of the seminary or extension of the seminary that is part of this land being when the British handover, I think the government took part of that land. This is what Barrow is talking about. This is what Barrow is talking about. Now, Gambians should see and understand how this person thinks. All these things they're doing, the millions they're pumping to win elections and everything, is for total consolidation. And then to entrench himself. He's talking about, oh, Jammeh. Remember, Jammeh said the same thing. I'm not, yeah, but Jawala nyona fi yaga fi, ki nyona yaga fi, duma fi yaga. But later part, when he went and secured himself, he said he's going to be here for a billion years. And if I tell you that Barrow, down the line, if he feels better, if he feels fit, if he thinks he's holding on to things, he might not turn around to say, my son is going to inherit me. You think he will not think about that? Especially if what is happening in Senegal have prevailed. That's why Macky Sall to be kicked out of Senegal is an interest to Gambia. So that, they will respect the people. This is what their plan is. Let me just play the rest of it.
sa jikko adresse la lu ngay liggéey sa adresse la lu ngay wax sa adresse la lu ngay dox sa adresse la lu jóg rek nii ñu ne ma ne nañ oo diw sa adresse moo tax ñu woo la foog nga am adresse sa adresse la su baaxee adresse la waaye su bonee tam adresse la su dara reeroon léegi ñu ne ah ñun de óoluwuñ diw adresse am la de sàcckat la loolu ñu ne óoluwuñ ko soo déggee nit ki ñu ne da nga nuru ak sa papa jikko mu naxari la nga def ko xeex kon sa papa daf doon sàcc wallaahi kon jikko baax na de man nag duma jaay suma boppa waaye xam naa ni benn affaire moom dama ko de ñaanal Gambia mooy su ma jógee fii tam ñu am beneen président bu gën a tolérant président Barrow loolu bëgg naa ko de so ren amoon président bu tolérant kuy ñëw dafaa jël bant de dëkk bu ndaw la de waaye nekkul amee de waaye nag am nañ yaakaar ne yàlla dinañu defal jàmm aduna bi.
You know, this guy is delusional. But again, I said he knows his audience. That's why we need to educate our people more. Gambians, educated Gambians even are falling for this thing. Oh, yeah, Barrow wants to leave power. Yeah, this. They're falling for it. Forgetting just this short history. It's the same person who lied about 3 years. Lied about 11 other things. Imagine, this guy is saying that he is humble, he's tolerant, he is this, he is this, he 𝒂𝒄𝒏𝒏 and so on. That's a lie. We know you are a thief. We know that you are a thief. We know that you don't tell the truth. Everything that you said negative is you. And you think people believe. But you see, Jammeh used to do the same thing. Jammeh will be talking to people that he knows that what he's saying is a lie, and he knows that people listening to it is a lie. But after Jammeh believes that any lie he said, people are believing it. Not understanding that there are many reasons those people would not believe it. Because people, they fear for their interests and other things. Some people are fearing for their lives. But they know that you are lying. Those people know that Barrow lies. And because many things. They know that he's a thief. They know that he's not a good character. He disrespects him. People he has with, he disrespects them. He disrespects elders. And tolerant. The same person who talk about maltreating Gambians. I mean praising the PIU for maltreating Gambians. Tolerant. The same person, whatever that got gathered in there, he have proved that he's not tolerant. He's constantly going against people that talks against him. He goes constantly against. No. How can he be tolerant? And saying that he's praying for Gambians to have a leader who is more tolerant. It's not something to pray for. It's something to to hold him accountable for. And I tell you, any other person that comes will have it even more difficult. That's what happens. If he could have done it, he would have. What tolerance? How many times did he lash out against critics? How many times did he come out and lash out against critics? What tolerance does he have? Let's listen.
si ñu nga xam ne ñooñu jegeen fi wala ñu sori sax Gambia tey lu ñu xam ne dundal waaye bagage fii la gën a yombee te si dëkk yu nga xam ne dañu respect démocratie respect human rights suñ scorecard bi dem na bi 80% si media tolerance ñu ngi nekkoon 146 ñëw nañ ba 90% lañ jot ñëw foofu soo gisee ñu am millennium trade cooperation bi America recognize ni tànnañ ci dëkk yu nga xam ne dëkk yu am démocratie ñu war a dimbale Gambie ñu tànn ko si my friend dafa am lu yow de te loolu lépp si suma njiital ak suma nguur gi loolu yëpp si la am waaye nag man dama sant yàlla bu baax lu nga xam ne dama wax ne dama ko bugg a def yàlla daf ma ne dimbale suma projet yu bari ñu ngi fii nit ñi foogoon nañ ñoo ma ko mën a def bu ma door Banjul taw bi bari woon na lool
Again, listen to Barrow. You see, this is the problem with a lot of African leaders, not only Barrow, or African technocrats. They take all these praises or assessment that comes from this international community as a reality, which is a lie. Ghana and every other country that were under World Bank or IMF supervision, they failed. And go and look at the scorecards they've been given on development and everything else. They failed. They're not in desperation. It's a way and mechanism of control. And now because they have competing forces, they have China, they have India, they have Turkey, competing the markets in Africa. Now they are softening their monitoring. They are softening their control or negotiations and relationship with African countries because they don't want to lose them to China, to India, to Turkey. Now most of the things they do in assessment, they lie. They know they lie. without all the corruption and everything in central bank and all that. Yeah, they just say corruption, but after all, they give them money. If we are gullible to believe in this as an indicator, I mean, it's a lie. We people live in it. Yes, the cost of living is everywhere. But in the sense of Gambia, what is done to really relieve it? Nothing absolutely. In fact, what's in it? If the government can take 3 months of export and spend it, and people don't know how they spend it, and they will not tell us, Barrow will not talk about that. And now having to almost increase, I don't know even the percentage, but people are see the increase. But not only that, people go, oh yeah, England increased, other places increased. But let's look at the reason for NAWEC performance and increase. As I said, go and look at the car power contract, go and look at the Senelec contract, go and look at the contract for supply of fuel, which is about 40% of NAWEC disposable income expenditure. Go and look at this, what causes the spare parts. Go and look at the other aspects. Government not paying their bills. These are all reasons. But he would, yes, scorecards in democracy in the. Are we going to eat the democracy? The democracy that people are fighting for? You think you gave us the democracy? We fought for democracy, and we are standing. If it was only for Barrow, we lost it. Because look at what he's doing. What democracy is that? You are pumping millions, taking money, kickbacks from business people, pumping it to buy votes, pumping it to this thing. Is that democracy? You are pumping millions for people to go out there to insult each other, to divisive into tribe, destabilizing the people. Is that democracy? When people are suffering, that money could have been raised properly to invest. You have enabled people, appoint them at Gum Petroleum. They stored petrol. Now look at Gum Petroleum is bankrupt. Is that democracy? Is that empowered democracy? And that money you involved in, it was not for anything else. Sold the people's petrol to Mali. They did not pay you. That's why you could not pay, reimburse that money. And the profit you would have taken, share it among yourself and take the rest and go for election campaign. Is that democracy? You see, this is why we should be very careful. When we sit down and, yeah, we have a credit. Look, I am a critic and I will be a critic. Because government have enough resources to go and sell themselves. But if they were selling themselves on policies and so, we deal with that. But not on a campaign. How could I come and validate a campaign like the democracy? What democracy? What we have is something we're holding on to. How many times did people get arrested for their views? How many times people want to be framed for so-called coup d'etats? Because we did not have it. How many people have been arrested and taken to custody for this thing? The young chap, 𝒂𝒄𝒏 Jr., charged for treasonable decision for nonsense, for spoiling nonsense on social media, and others and others. We want to defend them? We should be smart enough. But let's move on. And he's talking about the Millennium Challenge and everything. Even Jammeh, one time he had the Millennium Challenge go. And other people, it's all about, it's not to our interest. It's not about trading. It's about controlling our economy. Do you know that there's a condition that Gambia have to keep on importing this chicken from America? They even advertise for American imported chicken. They advertise on the radios. American Chamber of Commerce or whatever you call them, farmers, for receiving their chicken. Why can't we develop a policy to be self-sufficient? When are we going to be self-sufficient? Let's play the other bit.
buñ dooree rek fi ko ñu ngi nata ñu ngi door di liggéey mu ne ma am na ñoo ñu ñëw si man ñu ne yoon bi ñeneen la nekk du juróom benn te du am sukko ma ne ko ñan ngay waxtaanal mu wax ma ñu ma waxtaanal ma ne ko ñoom suma opposition lañ ñooñu duñu wax lu baax ma ne ko waaye léegi lu may def mooy man maa la wax ne juróom benn yoon lay nekk te dafay am si kaw yow dama toog rek nga xaar bu juróom benn yoon di feeñee gars yi dem foofu ñu ne ko waaw loolu feeñ na waaye si kaw du am ma ne ko toogal yow bul yàkkam bi xaaral rek te Barrow moom du yàggaa seen kat léegi tey nga gis affaire bi sotti léegi gis nañ pile yi taxaw ni gis nañ concret ne nangu nañ affaire bi si kaw la waaye léegi xam nga lan lay wax ñu ne suñu lempo la waaye kontaan nañ lool.
Again, you see, what Barrow is doing is he knows the audience he's talking to. Now, let's look at this. Barrow is still trying to sell to people that Banjul project is a success or is beneficial to Gambians. The former Director General of the National Audit Office, Karamba Ture, said it. The Banjul project is a cash cow for Hadim Guy and Barrow. You think Barrow loves Hadim Guy and just to give him an endless project to make millions, starting from 30, 50 million, God knows how many $1 million, and for concrete mixer and nonsense for how long? Now the project, I mean, everything about the project component is false. Is that even worth how many millions would it worth? Who benefited from this? Him. But he's still trying to sell it as something. Because of most of the time, we don't have a proactive opposition that would go and articulate this properly to the people. This is what is needed to articulate to the people properly. This is what Barrow is doing here. Now, Barrow is talking about the OIC roads, but you see that he did not use the word OIC. He knows what he did. Barrow did not come out to tell Gambians still why did we fail to host the OIC. Why? Hosting the OIC, the projects would have been finished. But because of the corruption and incompetence, we failed to host the OIC. Now the corrupt projects are far more delayed. Did they still tell you when the project is going to finish? What are the constraints with the project? It's corruption. Did he tell you about a company called Gambisara? A company that have never built a road, never maintenance a road, never did any building? A company that someone related to him or kind of, well, I mean related mean friendship or business contacts, who was a vendor selling things to government? Money to form a company, and we all know that because of Barrow have interest in that company, was given a slot, part of the contracts, with a company called Pitford from Sierra Leone. The Pitford guy paid $50,000 for that slot towards an election, president election campaign. And these are the reasons that caused the delay, and in fact, probably we might cost us more. We might go and look for more money, probably, because the Bullfoot side, I think that is the Bullfoot side that Pitford and Gambisara were meant to do. Either they will not do it properly, not deliver it properly for the money, the amount of money spent for this. Yes, people are right to say that these are money borrowed and grants given to the Gambia. It's not like the government went out there, created policies, generated income, these things. No. It's quite simple transaction of negotiating this thing, and it was for the OIC conference. It did not happen. Where's the hotel? It did not happen. Why is he not telling us the hotel? OIC hotel? It's not happening. That's corruption. That's why, again, he benefited from. Now, you see, for a president to say certain things will just tell you something. Someone came to you. What a useless person you would be. Come and tell, wow, I'm three. This is like 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏. What they do in 𝒘𝒄𝒄𝒏, when people sit in the corner of streets, bring the attire and the sugar get to their head, and they start telling, yeah, I cannot do 6, I cannot do this. You want to tell us that the project will be designed and everything will be done. And why the president, what have you to do with that? The technocrats and everything to stand up to do this and design and everything showed, and it will be doubtful. If that's something doubtful about it, that tells a lot about the people's lack of confidence in your government. Because you have said many things that you did not do, or you did not deliver properly. And these things, if they are meant to be delivered, was meant to be delivered yesterday. And the delay is happening right now. And we are in end of April. We are almost getting to the end of April. By end of May or early June, rains might start again. And most of these roads are dug. In Carnifin, dug in other places. The gutters are not going anywhere. Some of the gutters are dug, started in here, they started here, they started there. Because so many companies are giving different components of the business, of the projects. And some companies are not delivering because of what they don't have the capacity to deliver. Some of them have spent money in kickbacks. Some of them, the projects have delayed and delaying the contract. Because last year, remember when some companies did the mobilization, brought up the, because most companies, they don't own this, they don't own these machines. They have to lease them. Some of these machines, they don't have to buy it. They have to lease it for a contract. Because they don't want to buy it and they will not use it. Now, if they brought it to the Gambia and stationed, they did not do work for 3 months. The railway station, they could not do anything effective. They were just salvaging stuff that goes to it in their distance because the government want them to start them. It was not the right time to start. They know that, the engineers know that they cannot start a road construction in the middle of the rails. But because of the police, the government, they have to do that. Then Barrow to come out to try to make this out of something else. It's sad. Because of what? You know, Barrow would know that he's not telling the truth. And Barrow at the beginning might even feel that the people I'm talking to know about these things. But later Barrow is convinced now these people believe in what I am saying. That's what process Yaya Jammeh went to. Yaya Jammeh stood there lying about when Sana Sabally and others came to attack him, I did this, I did that. When he was saying it, people standing there were part of it. They know that it's a lie. Jammeh looking at their eyes, but believe that this is a fact now. Now that's what happening to Barrow. He's believing that these things, stories he's talking about are facts. Well, dafa amon ku ñewon ci man, dafa amon ku ñewon ci man. Nek duñ ko mëna def, mu demaat ñëwaat, duñ ko mëna def, demaat ñëwaat. What sort of president are you? Someone will come to you, oh, the roads cannot be 6, or they are 6 now. Oh, the road cannot be built over. They are built over now. Oh, the roads. That's the president you are? That's what you entertain? That's what you entertain? That tells a lot about the person he is. Let's just finalize this and hear the end bit.
Si julli bi ñu ngi ñaanal ñëpp nag di congratulate imaam yi si bés bi di wax nit ñi tam su nekkee ñun ñëpp jullit lañ te ñun ñëpp dañu war a óoluwante su Supreme Islamic Council ñu nga xam ne jàngakat lañ ñoo xam ne seen liggéey yëpp diina rek la suñ demee taxaw si rajo ñu wax ne Gambia dañu war a julli tey maa ngi ñaan waa Gambia ñun ñëpp nañ nangu ñu nekk benn waay nañ nangu man suma bàyyi buñ nekkee xale time boobu suñ taxawee di ut weer suñ ko gisul daf dee wax ne maa ngi dem déglu suma rajo ah ma ne ko lu tax rajo mu ne ma man rajo bi laay déglu rajo bi su annoncé na julli am na man damaa julli su nit ñi julli sama damaa julli ma ne ko lu tax mu ne ma gis nga suñ annoncé ne sa mbokka dee na si rajo su deew sa dangaa ne ko ne dee na.
Now, this is the same president saying that the radios are toxic, but he's telling people to rely on the radios. But again, he's saying that the people should respect the Supreme Islamic Council and so on. I'm not saying that provided not individual within the Supreme Islamic Council to be respected. But you know, the Supreme Islamic Council have blown the line many times to interfere on things that they should not interfere in. They have been seen as from Yaya Jammeh time to now. But does not mean that we have to disrespect them because of not the individual they are, but for what they represent. But this is again this is why we keep on warning our elders to keep contain themselves when they have this position think of the position of leadership they have. But these things about praying today and tomorrow is not going to go out. And I don't want to go into religions for this. It's a common sense. It's human beings are like this. And there's not enough of pronouncement to change this. There's no degree that will come down to change this. There's no law that can come out that changes. We live with these realities. And we continue and strive. But we have a responsibility as leaders to be trusted. And this is what we should cultivate. But next minute, he will bring the same imams and talk about elections. How to help him win. But again, that's what I'm saying. We just had recently the message from that 𝒂𝒂𝒏 and everything that he said that he discussed with the president, that's what we have as a country. Guys, I mean, thank you very much. It's been a long one, 2 hours. But these are the true and facts. And I stand by everything I said here. This is what is happening. Don't be fooled by Barrow. And this is the same Barrow we had from 6 years ago, and even worse now. And he's playing with minds of certain Gambians, what we should not allow to be. That's why I came out today, just to give him a response. Thank you.